Sunday afternoon, and that means it is day 6 of 6 ways in 6 days to create a better you, to be a better you. And so this whole week, I have been sharing with you some just really simple things that you can do to be your best self. And you know, you might be asking, what does meditation and clearing energetic clutter out of your life, what does mindfulness, giving voice to your feelings, listening to your intuition, what does that have to do with having great relationships, or, you know, being successful in dating and finding the love of your life? And you know, it really has everything to do with everything in our life, not just having outstanding relationships and finding the love of our lives. It is so important for every single component in our lives. And when I say to you, what comes up for you when I say happy for no reason? Have you ever been just happy for no reason? You wake up in the morning and you're just happy just because. And it's not because anything around you has changed. You know, it might still be raining out. Your financial situation might still be your financial situation. You might still be single. You might be still having challenges in your relationships. Your kids still might be driving you crazy. You might not like the work that you're doing. But when you experience that feeling of being happy for no reason, what that is saying is that in that moment, you are completely aligned to who you are. So if you understand the concept of knowing that we have the answers within ourselves to create whatever it is that we want in our lives. And the more we have clarity about what we want, the more we let go of things that just aren't in our best interest and our highest good. If we're always paying attention to, you know, our thoughts and making sure that we're guiding them towards more thoughts on what we do want and less thoughts on what we don't want, and we're, you know, letting our feelings come up and expressing them instead of bottling them down and listening to our intuition. It sounds like there's so much to do, but really you can almost boil it down to doing kind of a couple of things, and that's what I want to share with you today, is your path of least resistance. So when we are kind of in the flow of doing things in our lives and making decisions for ourselves and, you know, taking care of ourselves, this is a whole different way of taking care of ourselves that we may not have ever thought of doing. You know, like we think of taking care of ourselves as, you know, going for mani-pedis or, you know, pampering, massage and stuff like that, or retail therapy, or whatever it happens to be for you, right? We think of terms of taking care of ourselves like that. So this is kind of a different way of taking care of yourselves. So when I talk about the path of least resistance, that means in any given situation, you're going to look at, well, what is my path of least resistance? So for example, I was listening to Abraham Hicks this morning, and Esther was talking about how she was at her girlfriend's place, and her friend's daughter had 2 small children there. Well, not that small, like maybe 12 and 8, a boy and a girl. And the boy and the girl were fighting and bickering, and the more they were fighting and bickering, the louder they become. So in that moment, she thought, okay, well, what's my path of least resistance? And she thought, well, of course, that would be for me to leave. And she thought to herself, well, if I leave, then that would be good for me. But if I leave, that would not be good for my friend who, would be upset that I leave. So she thought about it for a minute and decided that she was going to stay, but instead of allowing herself to become so infused in the fight and the tension between these two kids, she decided to just be an observer of the interaction between these two kids and watching their bickering. And she at one point had said, you know, well, if I was that little girl who's got the brother that's bugging her, that girl's path of least resistance would be just to turn around and walk to her room. And there she takes herself out of that heated argument. So then, but that didn't happen. And then the mother got involved, and the mother started, you know, doing the bickering and the arguing as well. And so she thought to herself, well, geez, if I was that mother, my path of least resistance would be just to leave and not get involved in their argument, because the whole thing would just kind of fall by the wayside anyways. So the point of the story is in any given situation that we're in, we always have an opportunity to take ourselves out of that feeling of being overwhelmed or frustrated or angry or upset, and choose a path of least resistance that would be beneficial for us in any given situation. So another example, let's say you're in a job that you're not very happy with, but your focus is to get money. You want to have more money. So you realize that the easiest way to get money is to go to work, if that's, you know, all that you can think of to get money. So you go to work, but it's a job that you don't particularly like. So you know that your path of least resistance right now to getting more money is to go to that job because you're going to get paid for it, but you don't like the job very much, and maybe the people aren't very nice to you. But you go to this job, you realize you go to this job, you can get the money, so what can you take? How can you navigate your path of least resistance in that job? And so basically, what positive things can you find in that job? Well, you know what? It pays you. Maybe there's somebody that you get along with well, that you work with. So instead of focusing on the fact that you don't like that job, focus on the fact that there are a few components of that job that you do like, one of which is get more money. So that would be then your path of least resistance. So the goal is really to put yourself in a position all of the time of feeling good about any given situation, and it can be applied to anything in our lives. So why is all this relevant and significant to having great relationships and love? And I'm going to spin it right back to where I started in the beginning. And the reason that all of this is important and relevant is that when we show up as our best selves, when we feel good from the inside out, and many of you heard me say that when you feel good from the inside out, you vibrate an energy at a completely different level, which means that you are going to attract things to you at a higher frequency as well. If you are down in the dumps and you're always complaining about all of the things that are going wrong in your life, and you never have enough money, and you don't have good clothes, and you know your friends are boring, or you don't like to hang out with these friends, or you never have anything to do, and nothing ever in your life ever goes your way, how can you possibly attract a really awesome relationship to you? Because you don't even like yourself in your life. And yet we want somebody else to show up to all of a sudden now fix that, right? So it's by showing up as our best selves, in spite of what crap is going on in our lives. If we can get to that place where we feel good about what we're doing every single day in our lives, and who we are, and we're taking care of ourselves the very best we can, and we're always thinking about, you know, what it is that we want to create, and, you know, always making that our focus, and, you know, and just not applying even any pressure to doing any of this. You know, be still, talk when you want to talk, say what you need to say, you know, express your feelings, listen to your intuition. It's stuff that we do actually every single day already. However, we're focusing on all of the negative stuff quite often rather than focusing on the positive. So we focus on what we don't want or what is instead of what we do want and what's coming to us. And that is so in line with having a great relationship as well. And you know, if you happen to be in a relationship and it isn't everything that you want it to be, and you find that you're constantly butting up against each other in the relationship, if you want to be in that relationship, then change how you are being in that relationship. Focus on inwards on what you can do for yourself to get connected to yourself. Think about, you know, the positive things. What do you want to have happen in the relationship? What type of relationship do you want to be in? How do you want it to be? Focus more on coming at the relationship from the inside out rather than from the outside in. So the better we are, the better love we have, the better relationships we have, and the better life we have. And that's why I put together these 6 days of creating a better you so that you can have more of what you want in your life. So I hope that you have enjoyed these 6 days. And I so welcome anything that you have to share with me. If you are watching the replays of this and you don't already subscribe to or are part of the private Facebook group, I'm going to post the link below this video and you can join at any time. And that's it for 6 ways in 6 days, and we'll see you next time. Bye.